How's it going, everyone? Today I want to show you how to build yourself a quick quarantine tank. I'm using a glass aquarium that I bought from a local boot fair for £3, but you can use yourself a large Tupperware container, really anything that's of a suitable size to hold the fish. What you want to do is darken it out by getting yourself a black bag, or as our fellow Americans would say, a garbage bag, and just wrap it round 3 sides, back and the 2 sides there, and tape it on just to keep it in place. So I'm just doing this quickly to show you guys. I'll put some on this side as well. What this does is reduces the stress for the fish. Obviously the front's still clear, so you can see what's going on. Still let a bit of light in, but just wrap it around back and the 2 sides. Then you're going to need some kind of filtration. I've got this left over from project from All Pond Solutions. It's a 200 litre per hour mini filter, and it just has a black sponge filter inside it, and you can obviously just put that into the tank. I've left the Venturi nozzle on there because what I want to do is pump air into the tank and get that water nice and oxygenated. If you haven't got a filter like this, and you don't really want to shell out, I think they're about $7.99, you can use yourself a sponge filter. This is an old one I had lying around, and what I actually did was I took the filter and placed it inside one of the external filters on my other tank to build up the good bacteria on there. But that's not important. The priority is getting that fish out of the tank, so that your other fish don't get infected. So you can also have that in there. Next, you want to get yourself just a little heater. This heater was £6 off of eBay. There's a guy on there he sells hundreds of them, and £6. It's a 25 watt heater, perfect for a small aquarium, or say a Tupperware container. So you just want to put that in there. I'll talk a little bit more about the filter. It's not important to have the good bacteria in your filter, especially if you're going to use methylene blue. If I've got a really sick fish, I'll use methylene blue, and I've done a video of this, and I will link it in the description on how to use methylene blue to look after your fish. So obviously if you can use this, it doesn't matter about the good bacteria, because the methylene blue actually kills all bacteria, including good. But if you're not going to use the methylene blue, take out the sponge, open up your external filter or whatever filter you're using on your other tank, and just rub the sponge around in all the mulm and stuff that's inside it, just to get it coated, and that'll just give it a kickstart in some good bacteria. But say it's not important. I'm showing you both versions of the filter you could use. Perfectly adequate to either have just the air-driven sponge filter or a small internal. You just want to get the oxygen going, get a nice flow of oxygen, get some water moving in there. Then what you want to do is you want to fill the tank up with old aquarium water. So fill it up with water from your main tank, and again that contains some good bacteria, especially if it's the water that the fish is coming out of. You don't have to worry about acclimatising the fish. You put the water straight in there, transfer the fish over, no waiting around. If you use water out of the tap, obviously there's going to be a temperature change, there's going to be a pH change, and you really are going to have to acclimatise the fish properly. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this up with water now. Okay, so there you go. You can see the water's now in the tank, and I've turned on the mini internal and the sponge filter. You can see the mini internal, it's got the Venturi pipe on it, and that's just pushing some oxygen in the water, because you want to get that blood pumping around the fish's body with plenty of water, plenty of oxygen in there. The same with the sponge filter. The way the sponge filter works is that the air pump pushes the air down to the bottom of the sponge, and as it bubbles up, it draws in the water through the sponge, and again you put in plenty of oxygen into that water, to try and get that fish nice and healthy. This fast method is only really suitable for sick or injured fish. As I say, it's just you want to get that fish out of the tank as quick as possible to prevent anything spreading. It allows you to add medication to the fish on its own. You can put some inert substrate at the bottom, so get yourself some sand, put it on the bottom. Don't worry about using expensive substrate. Just some sand on the bottom, if anything. It doesn't need to be thick. What you then want to do is get yourself a lid. This lid came with this tank, so it's just perfect. You put the lid on there, so it's all nice and dark. So it just prevent the fish from getting stressed, and the fish won't then jump out the top of the tank. And that's just a perfect quarantine tank. If you were going to get some new fish and you wanted to set up a quarantine tank, obviously try and set this up a little bit earlier. At least try for at least a week, and make sure you rub the filter sponges in mature filter mold, so that you've got good bacteria in there. It's no good putting new fish straight into a tank with obviously no good bacteria, but this is ideal for the sick or injured fish. You can take more time over darkening it up. Rather than using a black bag, you could spray the sides and the back with blue or black spray paint to darken it up. The reason why I've used black bag is that once I finish using it as a quarantine tank, I can just take it off and set the tank up as a little shrimp tank or something like that. Nothing's permanent. It's exactly the same process if you were using the polyware container. Try to black it out as much as possible, obviously leaving one side so that some light will penetrate it. You don't want the fish in just complete darkness. Try not to use carbon filters if possible, especially if you're going to be adding medication, because the carbon just absorbs the medication and the fish won't benefit from it. So there you go. Hopefully I've covered everything, and that is a very quick way to set up a quarantine tank. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll bring you some more videos soon.